be taught. I've also advocated for an evolving curriculum. We have a process of throwing out our curriculum every 5 years and having new math. You know, keep the good parts, get rid of the bad parts, and change it. But this, we pay big money for these curriculums. We have to retrain everybody. The students suffer from the changeover. There's some efficiencies there. Utilizing technology more efficiently. We have to have iPads. There are other things in this world besides iPads. We need to look at those other things and see if they fit the needs of our kids. They may be much more economical. So those are the first things that I would look at. The last thing would be the teachers. I fully support the teachers' contract this year, and I think that is where the value in our school is. Thank you.
Mr. Davis.
Yes, well, I think I've taught in a class with no books, no paper in the paper room or copy room, no paper, 36 students in the class, and you make do, you get by. I'm not saying that's what we want, but I'm saying throwing money at the situation isn't the answer. There's many fads that come along, like Mr. Pearl just mentioned. There's new things that come along that the administration sometimes wants to do, and it's really not worth it. I think the part that we have that's good is the faculty. They know what they're doing. They've learned to get around it. It's not about putting more money into it. I think we can't put more money into it. In these times, it's too tough. It's too tough. You can't just keep throwing money at things when we have a staff that can work with what's given to them, and they do a really good job at it. So.
Thank you. Mr. Dana.
I think targeting for reductions is a very touchy subject. Clearly it affects someone's life when you're talking about laying them off from a job. And asking the school board to make decisions where to make cuts, I'm not certain that the school board has the correct on-the-face information. The expertise and where things can be reduced lies with the citizens of Hooksett and the faculty and the people who are there in the schools. They know, they're firsthand, hands-on people that know what can be reduced, where the cuts can be made to make the school operate within the budget that's given. If the state and federal resources are drying up, we can do job sharing of that kind of nature, but the real expertise is in the people that are hands-on. You can't just say, okay, we're going to cut teachers, because that's just wrong, because when a teacher has too many people or too many kids in the classroom, their efficiency goes down and we're not getting the quality that we expect. So I would ask the citizens and the faculty to do the recommendations.
I would concur with all of the things that Mr. Pearl had to say, and as well as I myself on a day-to-day basis manage about $22 million in budgets with what I do for my job. And I took a budget that was double what it is today and challenged each individual team in the company and told them, you decide. Here's what we have. Here's what you have to work within. And it was amazing to me how those employees and those team members will come back to you and say, hey, did you know that we're paying this for this, but we can get it over here for this? And it was amazing to me when the day was done that the budget came in way under where I had asked them to go. So I believe that there's some creativity, there's some resource, there's some very out-of-the-box thinking that you have to pull out of all of, be it the taxpayers' input, be it the teachers' input. Who's there? You've got to look at that budget, you've got to look at those line items and challenge them to help you come up with the right ways. I believe the stipend idea that Mr. Pearl had is awesome. There are teachers out there that would love to have that additional income and would put in that additional time and effort. And we need to take advantage of the resources that we have in our schools, because we have some amazing educators on our teams. And a lot of them are working 2 jobs because they need that extra income. What a great way to give back to them. So I believe there are a lot of resources and a lot of things we can look at. And it's not a matter of any of us standing here saying, you can take line item number 17 out of the budget. It's not that. You have to examine every piece of that puzzle to make it fit together.
Thank you. Okay, individual questions. These are specific to the candidates, and they each will have 2 minutes. Mr. Sullivan, you currently serve as the chair of the town council, and if elected again to the school board, you may be selected based on your experience as the chair of the school board. That is a lot of power and influence in one person, particularly for someone such as yourself, who has lamented that more people don't run for positions in town and school affairs. What do you say to the voters who worry that too much power might be consolidated in one person if you're elected?
We must realize the chairman is not the dictator. The chairman runs the meeting based on how the board is going to handle it. I only run the meetings. My actions are given to me, directions are given to by the majority of the board. I actually discussed this with a school board member yesterday. I said, there's a possibility of me being a senior member on the school board. I do not want to be chairman. I have enough responsibilities as chairman, and I think it's would be my role to serve as a on the side and use my thoughts and background and so forth to add. Again, the chairman is not the end-all being, so I certainly would decline to be chairman of the school board, because that would be an interesting thing. I could say at the council meeting, oh, I just had a discussion with the chairman, we decided to do that. That would be crazy, and I wouldn't be able to do that anyways, but again, the chairman is only as, directs the meeting, has no more power than any other school board, any other 5 school board members. So we're directed by the majority. So if the wish of the board is to do something as chairman, I will. If there's a wish of the chairman not to do it, then I won't. That's simple.
Thank you. Mr. Pearl, you have volunteered a great deal of time videotaping and posting public meetings and managing Hooksett issues. Easy for me to say. Hooksett Issues, the web-based discussion group in town. In some cases, you edit, post, and promote sections of videos that support your particular viewpoint. And some people believe that a truly open, unbiased, and fair discussions is sometimes difficult to achieve through Hooksett Issues. As a school board member, would you change your role or your stance with respect to your involvement in videotaping and or Hooksett Issues? Why or why not?
I would certainly offer, and I would want to videotape all the school board meetings that I was attending, because I believe that it needs to be done, and I try to post them in their entirety. I do cut out points to make my editorial points, partially because people do not watch whole meetings, so you need to pinpoint what you want. I tend to believe that I would editorialize much less about the school board, but Hooksett Issues is a voluntary group. People can join, people don't have to join. It is not a publicly funded entity. It is not the town record. So if there are those that find it not to be to their liking, and they don't go there, and that's fine with me. There are rules on Hooksett Issues. There are 3 rules, and if you don't follow the rules, I throw you off. And so I can't tell you what I'm going to do with Hooksett Issues or what I'm not. I can tell you, any of you are welcome to join, and any of you are welcome and have all the power I do on Hooksett Issues, except you can't throw anybody off. You have to report it to me, and I throw them off. Other than that, you're all welcome to post and criticize me or support me. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Regan, you have lived in Hooksett since your children were very small, yet this appears to be your first significant interest in Hooksett policy decisions, perhaps due to the effect of the recent high school policy decision on your own children. How will you assure voters that you are interested in policies that affect education at all grade levels for all Hooksett kids, and not just a narrow focus on high school?
I have not been politically involved in Hooksett. I've not really been politically involved anywhere in New Hampshire. I'm involved in a lot of organizations throughout the state. I think for me, if you look at my history with my children coming from kindergarten up through, now sophomore in high school and 8th to 7th grade, you'll see that I've been very active in the school system. Maybe not serving on a board, but I've been, parent of the classroom. I volunteered for pretty much any event that came along. I've been there. I've listened to the issues. I've seen the children. I'm a face in the school system. My kids play sports. I volunteered as team mom. You know, maybe I haven't served on a board before, but I feel like my education and my experience that's here in New Hampshire has given me now the opportunity to do that. I also believe that, yes, the high school issue did kind of bring this to light for me, and attending the school board meetings and just seeing some of the things that I saw as needs and deficiencies made me want to do that. There have been some great people to serve on this board in the past, and Hooksett has had a really great school board. And I think that they just hit a speed bump that they've got to get over, and I hope that I could bring some of that organization to help them get back to where they were.
Thank you. Mr. Damon, it's my understanding that you have made the decision to homeschool your children. Given that choice, why should the voters elect you to the school board to make policy and budget decisions for children who attend the Hooksett Public Schools?
Well, I homeschooled my son after there was a failing with his education at West High School. I homeschooled my daughter when she was trying to get into Liberty High School, or Liberty College, so we finished her senior year of high school and her freshman year of college at Liberty at home. And my daughter is my 9-year-old daughter is currently at Memorial. I think I have an understanding of, not nearly of the clarity of understanding that the teachers are going through with trying to present the information. You know, I have a small amount of background with seeing that happen and how kids sometimes just don't want to do what you tell them to do. And I think there's a breadth of knowledge that I have that I think would be beneficial to the town of Hooksett and to the school board concerning several issues. And I think my son's failure at West High School is one issue that I feel that can be useful to the town.
Thank you. Mr. Dubitz, you are a retired public school teacher. Some people express strong support for excellent teachers, but also express doubts that teachers' unions actually promote excellence. As a school board member, would you be in favor of a teacher's contract that included merit pay or pay for superior performance, and why or why not?
I think merit pay is a really good thing if, and that's a big if it can be distributed fairly. I think that from the programs or ones that I know of, it's not distributed fairly. You know, if you happen to be friends with the principal or department head or something, and if merit pay could be distributed fairly, it's a great option. I don't see how that can be done without favoritism. And you definitely don't want it to be with longevity. You don't want someone that's, because they've taught there for 20 years, they get that extra pay. I don't think that's how to go. But if you can do it on merit, and I don't think that one test a year that is a good indicator either of that teacher's performance. You know, we have great teachers in there, and they do things, and unfortunately, you can't really tell the benefits of that teacher. You don't. Sometimes, you know, years later, you'll hear from that student, or you know that you did something positive. But most of the time, you can't really tell the benefits of a great teacher. It's subjective. So yes, merit pay if it can be done fairly somehow. Thank you.
Right. Part of the reason that I wanted to have questions submitted in writing is because I'm a little reluctant to entertain questions that have a distinct bias, either pro or opposed to any candidate, for fairness. So I'm just wondering, how many people who are here do have questions that have not yet been addressed in some way? 1, 2, 2, 3? 1, 2, 3?
4.
4? Oh, is there another one? Okay. If you can ask your question without significant bias, I'm happy